Well, hey everybody, welcome back to Trevette Knots. This video is another tutorial on another star knot. There's a bit of a story behind that. It was some line that I'd gotten, some beautiful flax line that I'd gotten from Edward de Wit in Belgium. And I couldn't think of what to do with it, so I was sitting down, actually about a year ago, around Christmas time, and just started tying a knot and made this star knot, and it was fairly complex. And then I posted pictures of it on Facebook, and several people said, do a tutorial on that. And I was like, no way. It's like way too complex. I don't know that I can explain it properly. So I didn't. But now I did. I finally did. And I hope this comes across intelligibly and understandably so that you could do it if you wanted to do it. And right after this introduction part, I'm going to go into a little bit more detail about several that I have tied of the same configuration. And enough of this and more of that. Less talking, more tying. So before I get rolling on the actual tutorial on this knot, let me explain this. This is the first one that I made. And I just sat down to try to come up with something new, playing around. I had this beautiful flax line that Edward de Wit over in Belgium had sent me. And yeah, I knew I wasn't going to use it on a picture frame because I typically don't, use flax. But anyway, so I made this. And I kind of liked it. And I was like, yeah. And then I set it aside for, after the first time I posted it on Facebook for probably almost a year. And then I thought, that might be a neat design to use in some other line that maybe I could use on a frame as a feature. And I came to the sudden realization that I'd completely forgotten how to do it. So I tied this one, and these are all the same knot. Understand that these are the exactly same. Well, this one's a little different, but they're basically the same knot. So I made this one, and then realized, I thought, nah, it's too tall, sits up too high to use as a feature, so I didn't use it. But I had pretty much figured out how to do this again. And then over the past 2 days, I took some number 120. This is actually 3.6 millimeter line, and tied it again. And that's, once again, the same knot. But here's the interesting thing to me, is that even though it's the same knot, depending on how you tension the different crowning, it's going to come out looking quite a bit different. There's a lot of variables to this. So that's way different, and yet even different than this. This is pretty close in a smaller line. This is flax line that I got from Sue Pennison over in the UK. It's a beautiful line. And so same knot, smaller version out of smaller line. And this is kind of a long tutorial. I'm going to make an effort to show the basics of the beginning of each stage of the knot, and then move on by fast forwarding it through to the end, so it doesn't, it took me an hour and a half to make this. So we don't want an hour and a half video on one knot. So anyway, that's it. Thanks. On to the tutorial part. All right, I'm back. This is, I think, 1/4 inch. And for those of you in Europe, let's do it in millimeters. 6.1 millimeter, which, switch it to inches. Yep, 1/4 inch. So let's see if this fits. We're darn close, right? But having a core does lend to, is this gonna work? Yeah, that'll work. I got it. Tight tape's fighting me. All right, get in the middle. wrap it around tightly. And then, there we go. Where's my clippers? So that's in there, and then we're going to drip some super glue around it, which just keeps stuff from slipping. And because I'm impatient, I use some accelerator. Keep my fingers from sticking to it. Let that dry for a second. And then we can begin tying. So what I'm going to do when I do this, because I want this to be kind of a standalone video too, but for reference, those who have watched my other tutorials on star knots know that I already showed how to do this. So once I get into each stage of the of building tying a star knot, I'm going to do a little bit of it and then speed through it so that you're not bored, hopefully. So let's give this a run. So where are my tools? In the tools. I don't know where I put them. Here they are. All right, so twirl that under. We're going to be working counterclockwise on the first stage. Go to the right of that, under it, and then back over that same line. Loop it. Next one around. Over that, back through. Just making a series of interlocking loops. When you get into, in particular, from more than 6-point star knots, you can't just pull them all in. It's really there's a lot of play in how much you can fair this up. Hard to explain, so I'll just show you. But I mean, how tight I get this determines everything. But I'll be probably at this point, we'll just sped it up. But that's the first stage, is making these interlocking loops. Attempting to get them as symmetrical as possible. So, and the next step is we're going to go clockwise and tie a single crown. So over one, over one, over one. Spin it around here. Over one, over one. Got too much stuff laying on this desk. Over one, over one. And then back where we started, there's the first loop, back through that one. And you have a completed single crown. Okay? And this is a lot more noodly and wobbly than when you're tying a star knot with fewer bites, fewer points. But so, that's dirty. What happened again? Maybe it will be hidden. Maybe not. I don't know what that is, but probably something that's been laying on my desk for a little while. We'll see. All right, so this line comes through this little bite where we did the crown. It's going to go around this and back under itself. Come here. And then as it flows through, it lays on top of this other bite beneath it, runs parallel to this, but effectively it's 2 bites over. And then you go back down through that. Hopefully the camera's showing this. And then I'm gonna move around clockwise, and again. After I do, I don't know, 2 or 3 of these, I'll speed the camera up so you're not bored with the same daggone process that I showed in other videos. And again. Now the next stage of this is fairing this up from underneath, and it is probably the longest process of this entire knot, because each one of these lines that have come through from the beginning of the core goes around and up and around again. They all have some slack in them, no matter what, when you tie one of these. And I'll do this on camera, but I'll probably speed this up greatly so that you're not horrendously bored with watching me fiddle with this thing. It could turn into a freaking hour-long video. That's pretty close, I think. Maybe not. Try to get all this. I don't know. You can't just pull it all in tight. This is a nice hard line, so it forms up nicely, but yeah, that's pretty close to what I want. Then we're going to go back through the middle. So each one of these gaps in here is going to have a piece of line running back through it. And that goes like this. So where each line comes out of the star point, you're going to move this way over and then back up through into the center of the knot. So over 2, 1, 2, and then back up there. You almost don't need a FID for this, because all we're doing to start with is, if you're tying a variation on a star knot, you got to have a star knot to start with. You got to do the star knot, and it's a somewhat time-consuming process to get the star knot tied and tied properly, so that you have a good, stable, strong structure to start with, to have a base to build it on. So make sure everything is as symmetrical and properly shaped as possible to begin with before you get to this part, which is the part that's most interesting to me, which is making something that's a variation on your standard star knot. Okay? So we're going to do a crown, but only with 4 of these 8. So every other line is going to get pinned down. And hold those down. So you've got 4. So a single crown, over 1 there, over 1 there, over 1 here. Bring that around. And then back where we started, which is actually, well, right, 1, 2, 3, 4, through this one. And then fair those little dudes up. And I fair these up pretty hard, but I want it to remain flat. It'll sink down in there if you push too far, but this part is purely going to be the center of the knot cosmetically. So it needs to be right, and hopefully you can get it to stay in place as you continue to tie. All right, so now we're going to do over 2 crowning with all 8 lines. Okay, so 1 line over 1, over 1, 2, over 1, over 2, over 1, over 2, over 1, over 2, over 1 and over 2, over 1, 2, and now we're back to where we started, and we still have 2 lines. So this is the beginning pass. We're going to go over 1 and over 2, over that one. So through that hole, then over 1 and over 2, so through both of these. And then fair it up. This first pass, this first over to crowning gets ferried up pretty tight. And I keep my thumb on it to keep it, just to kind of have a little bit more control over how you cinch it in. Although honestly, I kind of play with this on each one as I go along. And this one might yet be different than anything else I've made, but I'm attempting to more or less duplicate this. I was really hesitant to do a tutorial on this. Well, it's been a year since I made it. I had several people request that I do a tutorial on it, and I was like, I don't even remember how I did it. And I didn't remember how I did it. I had to sit down and figure it out yesterday, how I actually had gone about it. So that's probably right. That's pretty good, huh? The thing is that you got to look hard at it and make sure you're doing it as perfectly as possible as you go along, because there's no going back, just retying it. But that's looks pretty sharp, I think. All right, I had to stop and take a break. Oh, there's a deer. I just put some corn out for the backyard deer. Anyway, it snowed last night, and had to clean off the car and the truck and all that. It's supposed to get cold tonight, freeze everything. I didn't want to freeze on the vehicle. So we have an 8-point star knot with only 4, every other one crowned with a single crown, and then with all 8 lines over 2 crowning 1 layer. So the next step is where it gets a little weird and very much deviates from what other people have done. So where this comes out here, I'm going to go across like that. I think I could go straight down. Maybe I'll just go straight down. Yeah, doesn't matter. But yeah, I'm going to do that. Come straight down here, and we're going to take my fin fid and go under these pairs all the way around. I'll end up having to check the accuracy of the fairing of that first over 2 crowning, and then so there's that one, the next one along, down in that little notch, through these 2 dudes. We do this all the way around. And I think just one more. Then you'll see that I've got to go back, turn it back up, right side up, and make sure that I didn't screw this up too much. Still need that to look as perfect as possible. But these are all snug, but not snug more than it would affect the proper fairing of that top. I think we're good. Now, so we're going to come back up. These are all went down, right? Radially. Now we're going to come back up. So they went through here. We're going to come back up, went down through this notch, back up through this notch, okay? And when they come up through this notch, we're going to go under this on all the way around. which is going to screw things up. It will make things more difficult, but it's what needs to be done to, and actually, you're just pulling the piece up. Gonna pull that down around it. So understand, this just went down, so we went into this notch, under those two, then up to the next notch to its right, and under its neighbor. So I'm gonna pull it through there, then pull that snug. Then the next one. And let's see where we are. So we did this one coming out of here. This one, yeah, I'm gonna move clockwise on this. So there and there. And this one up here, cross over under this. And that should go through easily enough without having to use a fid. And then pull down on this. Actually, it's gonna have to be done anyway. Snug there and snug there. Back up here, over, across, and diagonally under this. You could go either direction, but I'm going this direction. Back up here. I hope this is making sense to you. Here, there, and pulling this down to tighten that up because we just pulled it up. Snug that and snug this. This one comes down, go back up. Cross over under here. Pull this down. Lock it in. And that. And we got two more. Whoops. Nope. It's already done. That's already done. This one. So one left. Back up here. Under this, and then cinch that in under here. That's pulling that down on top of it, and then there. So that's all done. And then let's look and see if we had any effect on this. We need to make sure that this stays looking the way we got it in the first place. That looks pretty good. So these are all now going out radially, right? So we're gonna crown it again. This is the final over two crowning. So this one can start anywhere. Over 1, 2, over 1, 2, over 1, 2, over 1, over 2, over 1, over 2, over 1, over 2, and here's where we started. Let's pull the loop up there, and the next one, over 1, over 2, and finally, over 1 and over 2. So through there. Hopefully you can see that. So now, ferret, ferret, ferret. All the way around here. And we'll get this snugged in, but so that it's going to And once again, I'm trying to make this. So let's see how that goes. It's a little bit smaller line, so it'll make it a little bit smaller, but I want to get the same configuration as to how it lays in. I think this is the third of these that I've ever tied. This one about, a little over a year ago. Then I made this one, which didn't turn out quite the same shape. Made that yesterday. And now this one. How are we doing? All right. So now, and what I'm getting ready to do next is going to screw this up to some extent. I'll have to fair it up again. But now we're coming back down for the final time. And what I did on this one, I think maybe I just came over them all. Yeah. It's just going to go down into this, into the points. I think that'll look right. Yeah, and simpler. So we're doing there are two lines from the original tying of the star knot that go through the two loop points, or point loops. And now we're going to pull this down through here again. Somewhat easier said than done, because you gotta, I mean, you could probably do this without this tool, but I mean, this is a FinFid that I got from Mikko Snellman, which is the ideal tool for this, because you push it through and then place that line into the channel and it'll pull it through because it has grippies. That's the technical term, grippies. It is a great tool, specifically for this. The funny thing is, when I get into tying a knot like this, in the middle of doing it, I get ideas to do it different. And it's hard for me to say, oh, wait a minute, let's try that. No, I'm trying to do a tutorial here to show you how I did a particular thing, not getting new ideas on something else. Because I do like making variations. Three more. Come here. There we go. All right, how did we do? See, there's some slack there. That's got to be pulled in a little, but not too much. Close. Pretty good. And you can see that the configuration of my passes going up and down is the same. I guess I didn't need 22 inches. I guess 18 would have done, or less. Do want some. And this stuff is hard enough. I can probably just clip these off right here, because any more passing under is going to be a mess. So let's clip it. Where's my snippers? Here we are. Snip. And just to be on the safe side, I'm going to dot each one of those with a bit of super glue. Don't want anything pulling through. And I'm going to, whoops, I got super glue on my fingers, trying to glue my fingers together. I'm going to use these and clip this off as well. Easier said than done. So, I mean, I'm sitting there thinking, so other than using this as just kind of a feature or a fancy knot to look cool, I don't know what else you'd use it for. It's purely a decorative item. I'm going to close that up a little bit and throw some super glue in there too. That's it. Done. Smaller version of this. Well, thank you for watching. I hope that was a benefit to you in some way, shape, or form. Whether you ever attempt tying it or not, or whether it was just something of curiosity to you. One more tutorial down the hatch and all done. We will see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.